This is F2Talk. I'm Show 60, joined with
King DX.
and today we're going to go over what we've learned of the House of Wolves content coming to Destiny on May 19th, 2015. Would you like to start, sir?
I mean, I don't know where to start. Let's be honest. House of Wolves is out. Bungie's doing a good job at marketing the content. You know, they've been doing their streams and they've been very active and vocal, trying to get people who are well-known faces in the community to come over to their offices and play the content, and hoping that those people will be able to rekindle the passion for the game. But ultimately, the content I've seen, while I have seen a bunch of improvements, they are, in my opinions, afterthoughts. There are things that should have been in the game from the jump, and I'm not saying or trying to crucify Bungie for catching on a little later and now finally putting those ideas in the game, things like etheric light, some of the other things they've talked about. But to be completely honest, I feel like maybe it's a little too late, maybe not even enough. The content they're talking about, to me, seems like it may have maybe another month of replayability, and after that I see the same scenario as we've already had until Comet or whatever lackluster content they decide to throw out comes out next.
I definitely see your point, and I somewhat agree. And the last time we spoke on Destiny, I mean, I won't say we was being hard on Bungie, but I think we were just being honest. I do like to see the fact that now you can see that they pulled back, and the reason why it took so long to develop this content was because they was like, okay, let's hammer out some of the real issues here and set things right. So I definitely respect their approach. I think this whole concept of etherical light, or however you say it, which is be used to upgrade your exotics and legendaries, armors, weapons to the new max out.
I don't think you use etheric for exotics. Exotics,
it's exotic charge. You're right. But that concept changed the entire game, because now if you really think about it, the weapons aren't the rarest thing you get anymore. And in all honesty, some people may go to this stream, but the weapons were never the rarest things you got.
Yeah,
it was actually always the armor.
Yeah,
and the rolls you got on the armor. So it's like now that you'll be able to pretty much go back and get your Vault of Glass armor or whatever armor you like to take it to the next level, it's gonna make for some interesting things to come for PvP. Because like I've got a loadout with strength, with the claws of Akaham, however you say it, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
And I got almost 500 strength.
Wow.
So I'm getting melees in like 30 seconds. I'll have another melee charge.
Warlocks up.
Whatever.
And speaking of shitty warlocks, I guess we can go ahead and talk about Trials of Osiris. So, I admit that to some extent, Trials of Osiris had me excited for about a week or so. I started noticing people that I haven't seen on Destiny for a while starting to come back on and playing PvP, and it was really fun. But then, with the new Crucible, the way it's set up, I'm kind of not a fan of the new Crucible. And while I see Trials of Osiris as being fun for a while, I don't really see it having long-lasting appeal. Originally, the way, it was rumored was Trials of Osiris was somewhat like an event, kind of like Queen's Wrath or Iron Banner. And to me, that had a much more broad appeal, because then it was something that when it came on, you knew, the most hardcore were going to be there, and they were going to be very active and playing the content when it came around. This whole concept of, Trials of Osiris will only run Friday at 10 a.m. PST, and it'll run till Tuesday. And it's like this overlapping that I see coming. We're gonna have Zerg coming on Friday. We're gonna have Trials of Osiris happening on Friday. If Iron Banner ends up coming on a Tuesday, then Iron Banner will be running into all this as well. It almost feels like they didn't really have a really good way to throw the content in and limit its access. So what they decided to do was make it a timed event that runs from Friday until the reset on Tuesday, but it's coming back every week. So I don't see why they didn't just allow it to either run all week or restrict access to it. Like, instead of allowing us to go in and buy ticket passages, why didn't they just say, okay, well, as you play Crucible, you earn a ticket, and that's the only way to get a ticket. Or, if we're going to be able to buy ticket passages, maybe they should be extremely expensive. That way, if a team goes in and they mess up really bad, they can't just immediately jump right back in. And then if you want to limit that to once per week, I see that as being fine, because then you don't have a lot of overkill on the PvP. But as it stands right now, it doesn't seem like it's too hard to get back into the trials. So since it's not that hard to get back into it, I don't really see the whole reason of constraining the time. And like I said, between that and Iron Banner, and they're also saying that Trials of Osiris is going to be gear and item based, so your level is going to affect, even though, let's be honest, an Iron Banner of 27 can take out a 32. It's not that huge of a difference. So, that the level difference is nice that it's there, but I don't see it. I look at the game and I don't necessarily see Trials of Osiris being a game changer. It's a fun activity to do with 2 other really hardcore PvP players that you may play with on a regular basis, but if you don't have those people, you're never going to be able to experience that content. And Bungie's already said they're not going to have matchmaking for Trials of Osiris. And I definitely understand why they don't want to do it, because the frustration that will come automatically from one player being in a random team of 2 other people who steal the heavy ammo by themselves. And, I get it. But at the same time, are you really able to say that's in-game content? This is your PvP in-game content? I'm just not buying it. And, I guess we'll have to wait until Prison of Elders, but I'm not really sold as right now.
I think the thing with Trial, it's just another good way to get armor, because I'll be perfectly honest with you. After I get all of the armor pieces for the Warlock, I may check again to look at the rolls on it, but other than that, I'll probably be done immediately after I get everything. Yeah. As a whole, is it as much content as I would like? No. Have they gone in a step direction? Have they gone a step in the right direction? I'm sorry. Yes. I think they're on the right track to kind of bring in. We'll say they're on the right track to taking Destiny to a place to maybe where it should have been in the first place, or where it needs to be, because of all of this content they're doing with Trials and being able to upgrade your armor. I've gone back and taken a hard look at the game. I've finally picked the game up after 3 weeks, and I've seen other people, like you said before, who, oh man, this person's back on, that person's back on. The problem though, and I know it's a whole developmental issue in time and window and all this stuff. The problem is that even though this stuff sounds cool, it's not enough to compete with the other games that's getting ready to drop.
You make a good point. Witcher drops on the same day.
Batman, and those are like the true. We've had next gen games, but those are gonna be like some of the first games that really take advantage of the capabilities of the new systems.
Yeah.
So.
No, I get what you're saying. I guess another thing that's really bothering me a bit about House of Wolves is that they're Theory Light, right? Mm-hmm. To me, it's a patch. And what I mean by that is, had it been implemented originally during the design process of the game, it would fit in, it would function properly. But at this point, it's almost like a band-aid on bad game design. One of the suggestions I made a long time ago with using motes of light to level up your weapons would have ultimately been better, because we still don't have an answer to all the rare drops, the common drops, all the guns that people start off with, and maybe they like the design, maybe whatever the case is, they want to bring that up to a higher level. You still can't do that. This only affects legendary gear. So we're still going to be at this really weird crossroads where everyone's running around with legendary gear. Everything's legendary. If you really put that into perspective, you're telling me everybody in this world, all the Guardians who protect this little world and this little shitty story that they've given us so far, are all running around with legendary and exotic gear. No one has rare. No one has common. What's the point of even fucking selling? So I feel like you've completely made all that content obsolete, which if I personally worked at Bungie and I was an artist, if I had to bust my ass, texturing that stuff and throwing that bullshit in the game just for you to come back and say, oh, not using it anymore because we fucked up, I'd be pissed. And I just feel like Etheric Light is just another patch. What happens when the next DLC comes out? There's another mystical item we need to get to now magically raise all our weapons back to another. I felt like they should have made it where we needed to do some type of work. And yes, you can argue that, the actual Trials of Osiris and the Prison of Elders are work.
Iron Banner as well.
Yeah, Iron Banner as well. They're work, but, I felt like if they would have gave us something like, okay, maybe if you have a gun that has relic iron, okay, maybe the gunsmith, hey, I want to upgrade this. Here's a quest. Maybe every gun has its own specific quest, and when you want to upgrade it, you upgrade it and give them a couple motes of light. Bam! It's it's the new level cap. That way, at least every single piece has to be worked for. Right now, based on the system they have implemented, as long as they're not requiring for me to beat all the story missions first, I can pretty much go into day one of House of Wolves, take out any of my exotic gear that I have, and as long as I have the materials, it's now the new light level. It's now the new attack power. I haven't done shit for it. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't really earned it. There's nothing really different about it other than, the system they had in place with Gjallarhorn was dumb before. Like upgrading exotics, Gjallarhorn, Thunderlord, whatever you were upgrading. It was dumb. But you at least had to level it back up. You had to do something to make it feel like you were rewarded for it being this new level. There was some sense of accomplishment. Now there's none. There's just, here's my shard, bam,
well,
gone.
I think the reason why they took that design choice though was because think about all of the time that people have invested into not only acquiring the weapons but then leveling the weapons up. Not to I gotta do that stuff all over again for something I already got.
Yeah.
So I think well, I got two answers. One, I think that they're trying to find the middle ground in a sense, or it's also not one of those things when they're testing to see what works best, what do players prefer. You know what I'm saying?
But that's as somebody who's tested games, that's what you do before you fucking ship your game. That's just what you do. You don't release a product. You don't let your game go gold. Send it out to people to buy, to spend their money on what they think they're buying, a complete product, and then you decide to test things with them. I'm not a beta tester. When I bought the game, it didn't say, now you can play the Destiny beta. I played the alpha, I played the beta. I wasn't signing up to buy the beta. That was not my goal, my end goal when I bought this game. So it frustrates me, and I get what you're saying. I'm not saying devalue the experience people have put into it, but I'm saying if you want to artificially inflate, let's be honest, they need a way to pad the time out between content. If you want to artificially inflate the content, then you should have had some type of meaningful quest, mission. They can be randomly generated quests. It could be something as simple as, you want to update this, Abyss Defiant. All right, well, go kill 30 high headshots. Just like we have our normal bounties. Go do that bounty. But then also bring, 5 motes of light and, go kill, 5 people in the Crucible with a bit. You know what I mean? Like, they could have had layers to it where it could have been somewhat more like an exotic bounty, but they're randomly generated. They'll be based on the weapon, though. So they'll be always specific to the weapon. And then that way, I at least feel like, oh, yeah, I went ahead and, last night, I went ahead and I jumped down, did some patrol, and went ahead and knocked these guns out, got them all leveled up to the new level. Like, at least you feel like you're doing something. Right now, it's going to be another game of, okay, I got my new Etheric Light. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'll upgrade this one today. Bam, done. All right, well, yeah, I'm just going, I don't know, I guess I'll just keep my thumb in my ass until, there's something else to do. Because there's really no point of being level 34 unless Prison of Elders is going to have a hard mode that they'll keep back and release whenever the fuck they feel like it. Trials of Osiris, technically you're never going to probably need to be 34 anyway, so that doesn't matter. So, at this point, the content really doesn't require me to be level 34. Honestly, the level itself is bullshit. The level in Destiny has been bullshit ever since level 20. So I'm not really, fucking wagging my tail at Bungie or Deeds or any fucking one else because they think their new content is somehow is really engaging me. I get it's almost like the Manny Pacquiao fight, right? I mean, seriously, it's overhyped. It's overhyped, and ultimately, the content that I pay for isn't going to be worth what I thought it was.
But we knew that because not to veer too far off in the boxing, but who was going to beat Floyd? Pacquiao was the only hope, and I mean, no offense, but we knew how the fight was going to go.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily trying to say it like that. What I'm trying to say is this content is going to be exactly what the other content has been.
I get you. You only gonna play it for so long. It's like it's a quick shot in the arm, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Oh, I got all of the gear from trials.
Exactly.
Now I'm back to square one, twiddling my thumbs, still comment drops.
By mid-June, you'll start to see the Reddit posts. You'll start to see the YouTube comments, and it'll be the same thing that it's already been. It'll be like, when's more content coming? Unless Bungie can find a way to start throwing content every month like a real traditional MMO would normally do, where you get some type of update every month, something to make the game feel unique and fresh, I just don't see how they can gain attention. Like you said, with other games coming out in May, Metal Gear should be coming out later this year.
In September when comments supposedly drop.
Exactly. It's like, no, you're not going to keep your fan base. You're just not. And it's great that you're trying to engage and bring all these people in now to help you figure out what you couldn't for some reason, even though you have a wealth of knowledge and you've had people working in the game industry for years, but somehow you still couldn't figure out how to get a decent fucking leveling system put into place and implemented. Shit that's been done since the original fucking Final Fantasy. Alright? Shit that Scott Pilgrim vs. the World could do. You could level up. No issues. Why is it that a game that was so bent on leveling and was supposed to have this MMO experience seems to be struggling so hard on the concept of leveling up?
But it goes back to content. It goes back to the base content and how they structured the content. Because when you look at it, your initial level is actually still only 20.
Yep.
Everything else after that is pretty much just an expansion.
That whole system needs to be dropped. That's the only way that fits in the game. The armor should have its abilities, but it should only really give you a minimal performance boost. Honestly, like only few things in the actual defense department should be affected. And the reason I'm saying that is because if this was all experience based, people would not be complaining about not being able to reach levels. There wouldn't be, people rage quitting because they haven't got the armor they need to drop in. Then it would be more about, all right, well, I want this armor because this armor is specifically tailored to grenades. I want this armor because it's specifically tailored to Voidwalker, to Blade Dancer, to Striker, to Defender Titan that nobody should play in Crucible. I'm just kidding. You can play it on Control, but if I fucking see you in skirmish playing Defender Titan, I'm going to fucking kill you.
So, question in regards to the Etherical Light, what pieces of armor will you go back to and level up?
You know what's funny? So I've already had this conversation with a few people, and the actual armor that I would go back and level up is mostly my VOG armor because I like the look of the legs. Hunters, in my opinion, don't have the best looking leg armor, so I was gonna level up those legs. I'm probably going to level up either my I don't know, maybe my VOG arms. I kind of like my VOG arms, not the chest piece. That was crap. I might go back to some other chest piece that I had legendary and try to level that up. But even then, I almost feel like still the armor doesn't even feel like it's unique. Like, I understand the point of having random perks, and maybe it works for a game like Hearthstone where your whole claim to fame is RNG based loot. But when I have armor that's like, oh, your grenade kills increase your melee energy, I don't even want that type of armor. But right now, as a hunter, it's almost impossible for me to find it.
I agree with that, though.
Like, I don't want legs to give me more heavy ammo. There's other things I'd rather focus on. And it's, it's one of those things where they've added a lot of perks, they say, and hopefully it'll be like one of those things where I can find some armor or some gear that has perks that I like. But I'd be more impressed if there was some way to take stuff and actually customize it and make it your own. If the gunsmith did more than just sell rares and commons, maybe if he could add a perk.
Well, they doing telemetries. and you'll be able to reforge all of the new guns.
The new guns, though. So pretty much all my old stuff is still useless. I mean, I'm saying, like, it's like everyone's happy. My thing
as they should be, though, because it's a little, you know what I mean.
But and that's why I refer to the Manny Pacquiao thing. People are happy because they've been sold happiness. You know what I mean? Like when you want something so bad, sometimes you'll believe it to be what you want it to be. And I see it now that a lot of fans are like, "Oh, great! I can level up this, and I can do this, and I can do that." But what they're actually failing to realize is, why do you need to level that up anyway in the first place? Let's be honest. Why is it at level 34 or 32 right now, as we currently are? When you go to patrol, you're still going to struggle killing level 5 enemies. But you're excited. You're excited that you're about to make your level 32 level weapon level 34. How does that? You know what I mean? Like all that stuff is so fake and fraudulent that I can't force myself to care about it.
Well, the flip side for me is, in which I do agree with your last statement about, like, what's the point in being level 32 when I go on a patrol and I get smacked one time by the Cabal and I'm out of there. But the thing I do like and I appreciate about it is, like, I have so many different pieces of armor, and I was just lucky to have armors like with high rolls on them. Like I have a chest piece from Crota that it's like 164 strength on it. Like I've got pieces of armor like that. So now this new system basically allows me to mix and match. Let's say I level up my VOG gear and my Crota gear. Now I can mix and match, and I've been experimenting with all of the different quote unquote loadouts I can come up with to have like high intellect, high discipline, how many different ways, basically, so I can get in the Trials of Osiris and really embarrass people and piss people off. That's the real purpose behind it.
Yeah.
But I put it like this: I like the fact that one solo change that they did kind of added a whole nother tier to the game.
Yeah.
Because now the weapons aren't. Plus, it's not like we don't have everything too. So now it's like the weapons aren't so much the big deal anymore. It's actually gonna be the armor. You get your character to look the way you want them to look, and the stats that armor have. Like that's gonna be the most important thing for now. Basically until comment comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I guess that pretty much sums it up. I mean, there's not a lot to say. Obviously, like I said, there was definitely a moment where I was really excited. I started jumping back to doing PvP, but after I, gave myself a day or two to let the novelty of everything kind of wear off, I kind of saw the content for what I think it really is.
So do you think they should have put a raid in here?
I think that there's a raid. I think that because of so many changes that they needed to make
to everything else
is why the raid isn't in the game anymore. What I will say is what I think they may do in a way to try to appease the fans is we may see the raid come out maybe around July, August. Without DLC, I don't think they're going to charge. I think it'll be like, hey, you guys wanted a raid? Here's the raid. In order to try to keep interest until comment. Because, like I said, with this content, I told you this content was going to need to come in strong.
No, we agree. It still kind of came too late, too.
Well, it came too late, and the reason it's not coming in strong, but the push for it is strong. Like if you compare the media that Bungie's doing,
the marketing plan behind it.
Yeah, if you compare Dark Below to House of Wolves, you can definitely see the push for House of Wolves.
Right.
And the reason is, like I said before, a lot of people had already bought the content for Dark Below and House of Wolves.
Right.
So had House of Wolves failed completely, if the reception of it was immediately bad, they pretty much killed revenue of Destiny for the rest, of at least Destiny 1's life. And we already know they're working on Destiny 2. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm underwhelmed. What's your final perspective on House of Wolves?
I mean, I like everything that they're doing. Is it too little, too late? I won't say it's too little, too late. Play this. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Should there be a raid? Of course I want a raid, but I could see them doing something that kind of tailor to everyone else. Because, they got access to numbers we don't have or don't see. Because if it's like, hey, well, people play PvP more than they play the raid, I could see them
play PvP because that's the only content that can't be repetitive.
I mean, I'm just saying, I could see them gearing content strictly towards that, though.
Yeah.
So I mean, we just gonna have to wait and see. The thing is I'm 900, maybe almost 1,000 hours into this, right? I've stopped playing, but it's gonna be hard to come back to this game, and I will pick it up here and there. But with The Witcher, Batman, Metal Gear, Halo, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider, it's gonna be hard fought, man.
Well, and let's see what the drop rates are for Ethereum. Like, let's see how often that drops.
Well, I just need 4 pieces. 4 pieces. I'm level 34.
Fair enough. So guys, that's gonna be it for us in House of Wolves. Obviously, we haven't seen the latest announcement on Prisoner Elders. So if you're seeing this in this past Wednesday, they may have already talked about Prisoner Elders. You may have jizzed your pants. I'll be paying attention to it, but I doubt the hype is gonna be too high. So I'm King DX.
This is Show 60,
and we're signing off. See you guys next time.
Thank you.